I'm Brian Winnikins. We are at the National Association of Farm Broadcasting Convention in Kansas City. And thank you to our broadcast sponsors, including the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation, Animus Silo of Durand, also BASF, Ashley Gausman, your representative serving Northwest Wisconsin, and also the Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley. Joining us is Blake Hurst. He's with the American Farm Bureau Federation. We're going to talk about, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll take a couple of things to talk about. And Blake, thanks for joining us. Well, first, I guess we'll talk taxes. That's one of the things currently on the front burner. Where are we at with this tax proposal, and what's American Farm Bureau hoping to see with it? I know there's a whole lot of stuff with it that we're liking to see, but what are some of the highlights that Farm Bureau would like to see?
The tax proposal as it stands is better than we had feared it might be. There had been talk early on of ending business deductibility of interest expense. That did happen for larger corporations. For most farmers, will be exempt from that change in the tax laws. That's huge for farmers. We're glad to see direct expensing for when we buy a tractor or a combine. We're a little concerned that Section 179 expensing is temporary. Will have to be approved again by future Congresses. We'd like to see that. We'd like to see that made permanent. And finally, we're glad to see repeal of the estate tax included in the proposal that we've seen.
From what you've been able to determine in D.C., we've had a lot of starts and stops on any type of legislation. Is this going to repeat the same process where we have something started and then we get a group that says, oh, we're not going to support this, so we're going to dig our heels in, and it just goes nowhere?
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, forecasting or predicting what happens in politics is a fool's game, at least has been recently. I was talking to our congressman not long ago, and I said, are we going to get tax reform? And he said, we'll pass something. I'm still not sure what that meant, but I guess that's optimism.
Let's turn our attention to trade. Obviously, there's a lot of concern with the NAFTA negotiations right now. That potentially they could collapse and that the administration would say, we're done. And that would be devastating to all of American agriculture.
Yeah, when Secretary Perdue, who has been off to a great start as Secretary of Agriculture, when he came out yesterday and started talking about perhaps program alternatives, farm program alternatives to help farmers deal with the end of NAFTA, that caused a few sleepless nights, I think, to any of us that realize how important foreign trade is to U.S. agriculture. Here in Missouri, we're doing this interview in Kansas City. Here in Missouri, 70% of our farm exports go to Canada or Mexico. That's our customers. On our farm, which is about 100 miles north of Kansas City, all the corn we're harvesting today is going directly to a large elevator right on the rail line. It's being loaded in unit trains. It's going to Mexico. If we lose that market, I don't know what will happen to our farm. I don't know what will happen to American agriculture. So I think the concern is real. It's deep, and we hope that this is all a negotiating ploy that will be successful, but it is a real concern.
Not only that, but so we have NAFTA, but then we have even, we lost we're out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and they're moving forward. It just seems like we're almost going to be left behind here if we don't.
Well, that's a concern. I mean, our best estimate, and of course it's just an estimate, but American Farm Bureau's best estimate was a $4 billion increase to net income to American agriculture from the TPP. We've heard criticism of the South Korean trade deal. That's a pretty new trade deal, but in just a short period of time, since it was put in place, our exports to ag exports to South Korea have increased to $7 billion. These things are important to our markets. They're important to our future, and we need to protect them.
All right, well, it's going to be an interesting time to say the least. Blake, again, appreciate you joining us today.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Blake Hurst, he's with the American Farm Bureau Federation, farmer from Missouri. We are at the National Association of Farm Broadcasting Convention in Kansas City. I'm Brian Winnikins for Real Country 1430 WRDN.